All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
I like these chairs.
Welcome back as we sit on our relatively new antique ottoman.
I'm in a furniture searching kind of space in my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Trying to
wasn't
fill that
saying I
void.
like chairs because we have this new fly bench in front of our bed. I was saying it because I literally just saw some chairs I liked. But
Right.
anyway, shout out to our new find.
How much did it
What's
cost,
up, everybody?
baby?
I have a fixation on certain numbers, right? That's not weird at all. And so it was $50 because I like 50 and 250 for furniture. So like maybe we'll
That actually makes sense.
talk about that another day.
Nah,
but literally, if I find a deal, it has to either be negotiable down to $50 or $250. Yeah.
Either way, so I just
I have
wanted
a
to make sure
beautiful
nobody
mind.
got the wrong idea that we was just buying antique furniture, because we are the only podcasting couple with advanced degrees in remedial money. And
Yeah.
although I am speaking to you as a man with new employment
Woohoo.
and a nice pay raise.
Yeah. About time.
Yeah, I
damn
know.
it. I mean, it still doesn't change the tagline, right?
Right.
But I'm starting to
But we're
embrace. We are close, but I'm starting to like just kind of rest in my lot in life.
You are,
right?
and we're going to talk about that later.
I'm pretty settled right now,
Yes, no, not me.
except for the furniture.
I need more. I need the patriarchy back in this house, because it's been gone for
Patriarchy
a
is
while.
dead,
and I
don't
feel
you
like,
know?
I feel like, well, I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. We'll get to that later as well. So before we continue to ramble on, let me make sure we let everybody know who we are. This is Married to Shade. I am your host, Fiq Blerdman, and this is my wife, AJ.
Hey.
This is the Black Astronauts Podcast Network. We are one of several shows on the network. A network bringing you a lot of new things, things that I can't really talk about here, but they're on the horizon. You may have already heard the most recent show from the Black Astronauts Podcast with Rock back on the mic for the first time in like 4
Welcome
years.
Welcome back.
Indeed.
Welcome back.
That's enough.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You don't remember that. It was a show.
Welcome back, Cotter. Yes. I
Oh,
do
okay.
remember
Okay.
that.
Just want to make sure you caught that.
Thank you for that obscure reference. I did catch it. And so we're doing all this because of you guys. So I want to give a chance to do a shout out to our Patreon patrons. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to record. We are in our bedroom. The mixer that you all help pay for is on the ottoman. The mics that you all help pay for are in our hands. And we are staring lovingly into each other's eyes after a long, interesting weekend that may end up getting extended because there's supposedly 1 inch of snow coming to Georgia tomorrow.
Fingers crossed, you guys. I just want a normal weekday tomorrow.
Right. To say thank you, we got to give a shout out to our Patreon patrons. That is V. Williams, Monty M, Peter H, Pasto Chene, Felt 5, Robbie R, The Lawyer, Sadita H, Shlonda W, Wanga, Cameron B, Mr. Brent. Sorry, Mr. Brent. Simo, Ashley G, Chonilla, Knowledge, Dre, the greatest that is MJ, Donald, Ophelia Ono, Teddy Funk, Charlie Snowflake, and Angela D. Thank you all so much for your donations.
Thank you.
And your help. And with that out of the way, baby, how was your day? Because we've been gone for a second. So how was the last maybe 2 months? I feel like we probably did our last show toward the end of November, maybe even before then, because we had a lot.
Yeah, I think it was before Thanksgiving.
Maybe.
Right? And we took a little hiatus, did the family thing. It's necessary sometimes. So thank you for being here to listen to us once again now that we've returned. So end of the year was pretty good. We survived it. Christmas was too much. Grandparents are always team too much. Our son got a snowboard. We're in Georgia. You don't need a snowboard. If you are just tuning in and wondering where we are, since I said snowboard, we are in Georgia, and yeah.
And
so that was a little.
4-year-old son
has a snowboard.
has a snowboard
Yes.
larger than him.
Yeah, larger than him.
It would,
That he has to grow into in a state that doesn't
so
get
maybe
snow
your
past
mother-
like an inch
Your
and
mother
a
is a
half, maybe.
scientist, and she's a very smart woman. So maybe she just
This
saw
is-
a deal and said, you know, with global warming coming, in the mountains in Georgia, and over the next 15 to 20 years, Georgia might become a winter getaway.
I am so happy you love her that much, right? Because it was nonsense, but the kids enjoyed it. So Christmas team too much, but it was still really cool. Good to spend time with the family. A couple of volunteer things with the kids at the school, right? The year-end parties, things of that nature. Oh, should we talk about how our youngest son got dissed at his Christmas party?
So we officially got beef with a 5-year-old.
Yes, and it's real out here in
It's
the streets.
real. We don't like this dude. He's a dick.
He really is.
He's like a young hater. It's really impressive. He's Cobra Kai. That's what I said before.
Yeah, and
Like,
I think that fits.
He's really like, because he's a very smart, very good looking young boy. He's a very cute little boy.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably got the best handwriting in the class.
Oh yeah.
And not like by saying like 5-year-old handwriting. Like, no, he legit has good handwriting, especially for a 5-year-old. But he's like a hater. He has a lot of anger and just like shit in his heart.
Yeah, he
His
does.
heart has
So
diarrhea.
to let you guys know, you know, if you're a parent, you go to these year-end like Christmas parties and Thanksgiving, I guess, before Christmas feast and just stuff, right? So our youngest son has a Christmas party, and in keeping with the tradition of Christmas parties, when you get there, there's like crafts and things that the kids have made leading up to the holiday that you're supposed to look at and ooh and ah over and be like, yo, my baby did this. This is so great. So we walk into the Christmas party, and mind you, because it's a party, older siblings and grandparents, whomever, is invited to attend. So we walk into the Christmas party, and our youngest son is sitting at a table with his friends in front of a craft that he made. And
Which is made of food.
Yeah.
So like most of the 2-year-olds at the table, he's mostly just smushing the food together and then trying to eat it. 'Cause-
Yeah, true. It's like a gingerbread craft thing, right? But you're supposed to see it as a parent and be happy. But as soon as we walked in, before we could be like happy and excited, our oldest son's classmate, who was in attendance with his younger brother, says aloud in front of all of the children, your son, he used our son's name, of course, but I'm not going to use his name. He's like, your son can't color. And says it like with force.
All the vitriol, like now after that, shun him.
Yeah, with like his chest. Like, he can't color. Like, he's done. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all are failing out here in these streets. And it was horrible because the room was kind of quiet. And so it's like, you know, all I could do is like protect my son, right? Because I'm a mother.
So
I'm
you
like,
smacked him in the
it's
face.
okay. No, I didn't. I wanted to. But I had to like console my son, who was admittedly too, I don't want to say dumb. I mean, he's 2 years old, but he didn't realize that he had just got dissed.
He hasn't assessed that he has haters.
You know, so he's just still smiling, right? And so I just had to like console him and be like, hey, you know, you're going to learn how to color, you know, all the while glaring at this 5-year-old like, damn, you're an asshole. So, so that was that experience.
That's just, and don't get me wrong. He's been doing, this is like the latest in a series of things.
Oh, you'll hear
talked about him before.
We have, and you'll hear about him again.
On our oldest son for his girlfriend, who we don't really rock with either. Listen, if this sounds weird, then you don't have 4 or 5-year-old kids in daycare.
Yeah.
Because if you don't got beef with a kid or two in daycare, then your kid ain't popping. That's all I'm saying.
That's what it is. And when your kid has beef, you have beef.
Right.
And you have to understand that, right? You have to understand that. Like, I now, you know, I'm strategic. If I'm passing out stuff when I volunteer, like, if my kid doesn't like you, you're getting your stuff last.
Right.
And if there's one that's smashed, that has your name on it. You know, it's really real. You know, it's real out here in these streets. So the end of the year was filled with, like, kid stuff, funny family stuff, but good stuff, babe. I don't know. Is there anything I missed?
So on the flip side, the end of the year for me was health issues by my mom. I lost an aunt.
Damn, Debbie Downer.
Yeah, well, you know, it has to, because that was a big reason why we disappeared. Is that
well, that's true.
It seemed like from November on, there was one crisis after another. So some health issues with my mom. Then not long after that, or actually during that, my aunt fell ill, and what was that? The first week in December, she passed quite suddenly. Like she fell ill, but we never, it never occurred to me or any of our family that we would lose her over this illness. Because this is our healthiest aunt. This is an aunt that was on like that vegan shit, in the 90s before it was a thing that had documentaries on Netflix. So that was tough. And then I had to, I was on a job hunt to kind of move on from the last position I was in to officially sell out. So it ended well. The year ended well with kind of the knowledge that I was getting ready to, excuse me, close my direct services chapter of my life. As you all probably know, if you're old listeners or new listeners, I was a teacher when we first started BAP.
Damn, you
5
were.
years ago, I was. 6 years ago now, I think the show. And I stopped teaching a couple of years back to start we'll say a direct services job working with, high needs, high risk youth, which, it was very fulfilling, but it wasn't really what I was trying to do. My goal has been to sell out, and my goal has been to remove myself from the direct path of the human wreckage.
Because it's stressful.
Yeah.
It's stressful. If you are serving at-risk populations and interfacing with those folks or, all the time, you can't help but take their stories and their pains and their triumphs home with you.
Right.
And that energy is like absorbed and felt then by your family. So it's just a really stressful job to have. And this is all theoretical because I'm sure we have some social servants out there. It's three types of social servants that are working like directly with the people, like really in the streets. Okay.
Really helping folks, grassroots, all that good stuff. The best kind is the person who is truly passionate and truly gifted.
Okay.
Because that person's passion will always renew them, and their gift will make them maintain a certain level of success and effectiveness. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Type number 2 is me, a person who is passionate and effective, has efficacy, but I'm not gifted in that regard. I could have a whole series of podcasts about some of the things I've done.
I mean, that's humble. That's very humbled of you.
But
to say that, did I say that right? Humbled of you, but
no.
Y'all get it. So but I appreciate you being humble, but I don't know if that's true. I think you had maybe the gift and not the passion, a passion for people, but not a passion to serve in that capacity.
Maybe that's backwards. Maybe so. We'll say the first type is truly gifted and infinitely passionate. There it is.
Okay.
And then you have gifted and limited passion. You have a time limit on the amount of passion you can provide to the world for the type of work you do, for the pay you get for it, for the thanks or lack thereof. And I had hit several years ago, really, a point where I just could no longer perform my gift for people at the level I was and still do my job well, because I had just been worn out. I just, we're going to talk about the show The Shy, and spoiler alert, I don't want to watch it.
Oh man, I am really into The Shy. We've only seen the pilot, but to your point, like I said, you were gifted, or you are gifted, and it was hard for me in some regards to see you transition, right? Because it was more money, so that's always great for our family and our bottom line. But I knew that there are a lot of people counting on what you brought to the table as a social servant. So that was like when you were in the classroom, as well as acting as an acting social worker, which is what you've been doing for the last 2 years. So I knew it was hard on you. I knew you needed a break. I know that your skills and talents can be used in another way. But I also, it's one of those, like, if not me, who? So kind of like, if not you, who? So because for many of the schools and the organizations you've been a part of, you have been like
the best thing.
Yeah. But yeah, so when it comes to really being in touch with the communities you serve.
But here's the thing. So I've got 2 former students that are, 3 now, 3 former students that are teachers. One is a
Wow.
social worker. That I know of. That
So
I
you
just
feel
keep
like you
tabs
passed
of.
the torch?
Excuse me. I feel like I planted enough seeds, and I feel like that's all you really should ask for of people. Because if you're not truly passionate, infinitely gifted, truly gifted and infinitely passionate, you end up in that third category, where it's people that just keep doing it because that's all they can do or that's all they want to do, and they figured out a way to keep doing it and not fail. And they're trash. They're trash at it. There's so many trash teachers. Y'all know one. You might be one listening.
Get
There's
your act
trash
together if you are.
social workers. There's trash people who, so much depends on them. And I don't blame them too much, because once you've been in the type of like work field that I'm talking about for 4 or 5 years, I can't imagine, like, nobody can stay at a high level unless you have that infinite well of passion. You can't really stay at a high level.
I think it has to be said. Like, I don't think anybody goes into either of those professions, so teaching or just straight social work, wanting to be trash, right? Nobody walks in trash. So trash is so harsh, but trash is a result of burnout.
Right.
It's really burnout. It's not trash. You're not trash, right?
No.
You're really
you
just
don't light
burnt
the fire
out.
again, so you're trash. A candle that can't light anymore. What do?
It's
You
trash.
throw that shit away.
Okay, I'm trying to be kind to y'all, but yeah. So you're burnt out, and I saw you becoming burnt out, right? You definitely burnt out with teaching, and I saw the slow progression, and things were speeding up over the last couple of months to you becoming burnt out as a social worker. So, like I said, I was happy to see you transition. I'm happy about this new life you have, this new sense of confidence, this new sense of purpose. But I know you will be missed in the various spaces you once operated in. It's real interesting to me, because my work, sometimes I feel like, I go through these, what's my purpose kind of thing. What's my best life? I watch a lot of OWN sometimes, and I love Super Soul Sundays for all of those people out there who hate it and hate Oprah 2020. We're going to talk about it.
Oh.
And so, no, I'm really not a fan, but we will talk about it. I am a fan of Oprah, not the 2020 thing. But
I'm a fan of neither.
Because you're a loser. So I'm constantly trying to figure out like what I'm here for and what I need to do. I don't want to do it too fast because I want to be here longer, but I got to figure out what it is. And I envy, to a certain extent, people who are social workers or who are teachers. Money aside, the fact that every day you're able to make an impact, you're changing the world, you're shaping the minds of future leaders and just, thinkers. That's awesome, right? I go to work and I get paid, and that feels good. But like, I never expect. I'm not gonna get any award. I haven't saved anybody's life by doing what I do. So, I think people who maybe have the infinite passion and the skills are like rock stars in life, because you've married your profession with life's purpose, and that means, according to Oprah, you are living your best life. And so kudos to you. As a person who just does everything for profit, I'm trying to figure that out. I need to be a better person. That's the bottom line.
No, you don't.
I need to be a better person.
You need to get this money, because I'm catching up to you. And once I surpass you, some shit gonna change around here. I tell you that right now. Anyway, so that was. I'm gonna
quit, and I'm gonna figure out how to be a better person. Things will change. I won't work. That'll be a great episode.
That was our long intro, but it makes sense because we've been going for like 2 months, and that's really cutting out a bunch of stuff. So we're gonna do a little bit of review, but first, I feel like setting the tone for a lot of what this show's topics. We're just gonna jump into probably the shadiest topic at hand right now, which is what's going on with Aziz Ansari, who I'm a lukewarm fan of. Like, he's got some really great bits, that are jokes. His show gets a 6.8 out of 10 for me. I didn't feel compelled to keep watching it, but I don't feel like I didn't like any of the episodes that I watched.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
No, that makes complete sense. I guess I'm a lukewarm fan of Aziz as well. I was planning on saying I'm a real fan of Aziz, but I think to qualify as a real fan, you have to really indulge in the content that person produces. Yeah. And I don't necessarily follow all of his movements, but when I see him, I'm always like, I like
What's
Aziz.
he doing?
Yeah. I want to watch that.
You're a fan of his fandom.
I am.
But not of his actual material and work.
Well, no, I like some of his work, but I'm a fan of his swag.
No, so if liking his work and being a fan of his work are two different things.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because if you're a fan, you want to see his work. You consume his work.
Okay, and if I like his work?
Then when it comes on, you're like, that was cool. And like, before this happened, when's the last time we talked or watched anything he did?
Mind blown.
Yeah, a long time.
Mind blown. Yeah. So I am not a fan of really anybody.
No.
I like a lot of.
You're an Oprah fan. You're a Charlamagne fan.
Oh yeah.
You're a fan of what's his name on the stage? Kevin on stage.
I am.
You're also
our platform is not like really vast, but I feel like I've done a service in my life now by mentioning his name.
But you are a serial hate watcher. It's something I've learned about you in the last couple of months.
Okay, that's for another show. I feel like
I want to talk. Let's
so
just
what's
rip
going
that
on with
Band-Aid
Aziz?
So Aziz. It's complicated. So it's one of my favorite things to harp on, combined with something important, combined with something that's going to be uncomfortable to fully flesh out, but we're going to go there anywhere. So here's what happened. Some website called Babe, which at least what I saw of it, I would label it as a diet radical feminist, kind of website, blog type of thing.
Diet radical feminist.
Yeah, that's probably not. I don't know if they're really radical like
diet
that.
Radical feminist?
Well, so there's,
Wouldn't you just take the radical off of it and just say
Well, no. So I say diet because they post. So they're radical enough to have posted this article about this girl who went on a couple of dates with him and completely poise it as.
So is that radical, or are they just being on trend as a blog or a website? Because right now, Hollywood sexual assault scandals are the story.
Well, no, I kind of perused the site, and it's a little more. So if we talk about radical feminism, the biggest thing that resonates with me with radical feminism is that they don't fuck with dudes pretty much at all. Like as a dude, as a heterosexual man, you ain't shit regardless of what you're trying to do. All sex with a heterosexual man is rape. That's a real thing.
I don't like this whole radical.
That's what it is. Do your Googles. Radical feminism, there's a lot of tenets of radical feminism that look at any sex with a man as an act of rape because of patriarchy, because it's kind of like when you get into radical socialists who will tell you that there's no ethical consumption, ethical consumption under capitalism.
Things like that, but I guess I thought better of.
I'm sure I'm bastardizing it to an extent. Of
my
course,
community of feminists to think that was.
But you know me, I'm anti-radical
a real
everything.
Thing.
But so I'm probably
but
doing
go
them
ahead.
disservice.
So I don't know if it's radical to have posted the article about Aziz.
No,
I didn't
don't
read
think it's
theirs.
radical.
I read.
I think it was
the article posted on CNN about the issue.
So I went and
go
read
ahead.
or hyper skimmed the article on the actual website that originated the story. So in this story, a young lady tells of how she met Aziz Ansari, how they text back and forth and flirted. How they went on one date and Aziz took her home and tried to have sex with her. And nothing non-consensual, and she openly admits this, happens during this event. However, she felt essentially like I'm being unfair, but I can't not depict it, describe it in this way. She felt so bad about the way things went down that she eventually started to think she's called it sexual assault. And when she saw Aziz, so one thing about Aziz that makes him significant is Aziz is a pretty ardent, male feminist or man feminist or whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, and
just call him feminist. But
most recently, he was seen at, I believe, the Golden Globes wearing the Time Out pin.
Time's up.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry. It's
get on
late.
your hashtag activism.
I have kids. You can talk about me. But, yeah. but the Time's Up pen. So, and I think it was the pen that triggered the young lady to speak
tell the
out
story.
Anonymously about what had happened. So I like to give the facts before inserting my opinion. So the fact is, after they had a sexual encounter,
they did not have sexual intercourse.
Sexual encounter, isn't that fair? Doesn't that cover a lot of things? I'm not correcting you.
I just wanted to make sure that was put out there, that there was no actual coitus. Oral sex was exchanged.
Yes, I mean
they both performed oral sex on each other at some point in time during the night, very early in the night, by the way. But go ahead.
Very early, like, did you read a time?
Yeah, like they went on a date, and she complains. And
when is early? But anyway,
no. Meaning, like, they came to his apartment, and like within the first 20 minutes,
is there a rule? Should you wait 30?
I'm just saying, like, if
45.
If you bring a date home and y'all are having oral sex within the first 10 minutes, then
what?
It kind of sets the tone for the night. If you're having consensual oral sex within the first 10 minutes.
I'll give you that it sets a tone for the evening. I'll give it. We'll pin it there. So anyway, they text back and forth, agree to go on a date. They go on the date. After the date, they go to his apartment. During his apartment, while they were talking at his apartment, everything seemed okay and to progress naturally. They exchange oral sex, as Fiq Blerdman has said. And then she leaves, right? She leaves. He calls her an Uber. No. He calls her an Uber, and she leaves. The next day, she texts Aziz, and she says, I know everything seemed okay yesterday or last night, but I feel uncomfortable with how things went down. So in a statement he made, I don't remember everything he said, but basically he said he took it to heart. He was alarmed by it and responded to her personally, because he has yet to say what he said to her. I don't know if that's because he doesn't really remember, or if he's trying to, because she came out anonymously, trying to protect her anonymity. But he responded to her privately, expressing concern about her feelings. But he also reiterated that, yes, it seemed like everything was okay. And therein lies, I think, the issue, right?
Yeah, because the reality is, so let me add some texture and details. So here's the thing. So he was aggressively pursuing a sexual intercourse with the girl.
So I didn't see that he was. I didn't read that he was aggressively pursuing.
Here's some of the things he did. He made a lot of. He took off all his clothes at some point in time. He made a lot of like vulgar gestures with his tongue. He stuck his fingers in her mouth a couple times.
Ooh, Aziz. This is not good game.
He, sat her on his lap while he was erect at some point in time. It's a bad look overall for him, because you don't like to have your failed attempt broadcast, period. Nobody's
so let's just put it out there that you should never just undress when someone comes over to your home.
I gotta go back and read. What state of dress was he in if she had already performed oral sex on him in the first 10 minutes?
Your article is a little suspect.
It's the article.
Your article is a little suspect. No, my article didn't give me all these details.
Your article is based off my article.
Well, but it's CNN, right? It's CNN, right? It's fake news. It's fake news, right? That's what we learned last year. That CNN and almost everything else is fake news. I know you don't want to talk about it. But so CNN definitely gave me an abridged version of what went on. So I guess at Babe, you said Babe shared more of the details of what her experience was. I need you to understand this, because we're going to make it sound bad. What?
This is the original story, comes from this article.
I get it.
So they didn't share all. They have those are all.
So she did the interview with them directly. Okay, so they got it. They have.
Yes.
They win on facts.
Yes. They are the primary source, as you
okay,
say.
So he was aggressive.
Both of our
and
communication
he
studies days.
got look. It's
So
late. I'm struggling.
He was aggressive.
So he was aggressive, and he undresses, right? Before or after? Clarify.
She performed oral sex on him after he performed it on her. So they're both in some state of undress.
I'm just confused about the flow of this night. Maybe
here is the flow of the night.
I would feel awkward after this too. It just seems like nothing.
So I'm not. So
it's very interesting.
So here's the thing. So let me say this, because I've been very negative about her in this story and the part of the oeuvre behind it. I don't think she shouldn't feel bad about what happened. I don't think she should be completely like shunned for being sensitive or anything like that.
Yeah,
like you have an awkward sexual, encounter, especially if you were going into it hoping for A and you got B instead, and you feel kind of shitty the next day, and you want to let the person know about it. Even cool, all those things work and make sense for me. It's that she made it part of this movement.
So when
which bothers me.
I'm
on
gonna
a lot
be
of levels.
honest. So when I read the CNN article, which omitted a lot of very important details, really, it's very interesting how CNN spun it. They really made it very sterile. It was just, he went out on a date with this woman, and they went back to his apartment, and they exchanged oral sex, and then she went home. And then she said, I was uncomfortable. And he said, that bothers me. I want you to feel comfortable, but I felt like you were okay. And she said, well, I know it looked like it was okay. The end of story. Aziz will continue to support movements like Me Too and, and Time's Up, blah, 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 blah. So the fact that the Babe article said he was aggressive, that changes my viewpoint on things. Because initially I was like, okay, let's talk about what sexual assault is, right? Mm-hmm. So sexual assault looks very different in different situations and can feel very different to different people, but we have to have some parameters, or we have to operationalize. Are you with me here? Mm-hmm. We have to operationalize what sexual assault means for the safety of those people being assaulted, so they can readily know, like, hey, this is wrong, and for those people being accused of assaulting someone. Because based on the CNN article, I was like, this just being honest, didn't sound like sexual assault. This sounded like regret, an awkward night, and like awkward nights suck. It sucks to be intimate in any way with someone when it wasn't necessarily your intention, but you didn't maybe use your better judgment. I don't know, but I just felt it was really, really gray, and assault maybe wasn't the appropriate word for it.
It's
now
not the appropriate word.
That I'm hearing that he was aggressive, that he may have undressed himself at like a weird moment.
No, stop. I'm sorry. I'm going to be vulgar and I'm going to cut you off. He undressed himself so she could suck his dick, which is what she did consensually. And she states that.
Undressed yourself to get
you have to at least.
I mean, I have no judgment if you like to be naked.
Like, if the goal is to have. Well, so you know what? Let me not say that, because let's see. Let's say when I'm looking at the article, and let me not, because I'm imagining it as based off, skimming it. So let's see. I'll control find.
So yeah, so if he was hyper aggressive.
So what is was he hyper aggressive though? That's why I hate your damn computer.
I mean, you said he was aggressive.
No, that's not.
So my thing is, this is gonna sound really, really bad, right? This is gonna sound very reminiscent of, you shouldn't wear this, or you shouldn't be out after a certain hour. Both things I totally cringe at. But if you weren't, so you go out on the date, and the date is, no, I'm wrong. Okay, I can't do that to her. I can't do that to anyone. You should be able to go to someone's home without there being an assumption that you're going to do something else with them. However, okay, you guys, I'm having a stream of consciousness. Just go with me. Mm-hmm. However, if I get there, right, because I should be able to be there, And it seems as if your intentions don't mirror my intentions for the evening. I think as a person responsible for my self, right?
Exactly.
My body and who I am.
As an adult woman.
You know, as an adult woman, I think I would personally exit stage left.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I go out with Aziz, hella funny. Of course, I'm going to go back for drinks to his house because he's probably going to make some cool jokes, and I'm spending time with Aziz. But when Aziz is like putting his fingers in my mouth and doing all kinds of weird stuff, possibly undressing at an inappropriate time in the night.
So let me stop that.
I'm leaving. I'm like,
here's the exact quotes. Walk 2 blocks to his apartment building, an exclusive address in such New York. Walked in, she complimented his marble countertops, according to Grace, and Zari turned the compliment into an invitation. He said something along the lines of, how about you hop up and take a seat? Within moments, he was kissing her. In a second, he had his hand on my breast. Then he was undressing her. Then he undressed himself. So this is like, what? This sounds like erotica.
That's a little problematic.
How is that problematic? No,
that's a little problematic. I'm now
Aziz?
disappointed in Aziz.
No.
I'm disappointed in Aziz. I don't think so. Nothing you said before walking in the house and he starts touching her and kissing her says she was ready to be touched or kissed. You read we walked 2 blocks to his apartment.
Right.
Okay, that's normal.
Right.
We walked into his apartment or some filler sentence to that extent.
Mm-hmm.
And then you read and Aziz starts touching and kissing her. Like there should be some bridge between
No. There's only one thing. There's two possible outcomes to a man in this situation starting this activity. We're keeping it moving, which by the way it kept moving. He undressed her, then undressed himself, then performed oral sex on her, then she performed oral sex on him. That is the stream of events here. At no point what did she not say?
Well, I haven't heard.
She doesn't say stop or no at any point in the side.
But
like when she said stop and no, hold on. When she said stop,
silence when it comes to sexual intercourse of any
but
type,
we don't know that,
silence doesn't give consent.
We don't know,
and that's the
so
whole.
I get that.
What's behind the movement?
So I get that overall. I get that silence does not.
Silence doesn't give consent. So if I walk into your house, because now I'm in your space, and you build comfort in other folks' space. Like when we go to someone's house for the first time, I don't go in their cabinets and like get a cup and pour my own drink and like prop my feet up on the ottoman. No, like I wait to be served and I wait to be told where to sit and things of that nature, because the comfort is not just automatically there. So she hadn't been to his house before, right? So there's a level of dis-ease, whether it's front of mind or not, when you walk into someone's space that you haven't been in before. So if you immediately walk into someone's space and they start like groping you and kissing you, that's problematic. That's problematic. Could she have said, like, it's not, "Don't touch me, don't kiss me"?
Yeah, like beyond that.
I'm
like,
not comfortable with this. Of course,
we can't. So I gotta.
Discomfort in alarming nature of it all probably was stunning. Where you're like, "Oh, okay."
So
what are we doing next?
I think
now
I
you're
speak
naked.
for a lot of men, probably to my detriment in the moment, when I say that it is very difficult and along with unrealistic and just, for lack of a better way of putting it, kind of ridiculous to always expect that an act of passion is going to be preceded and intermittently interrupted with questions of consent.
But I think that's where we get it wrong. So I understand the traditional way to run game or to make sure a night progresses in the way that you want it to, if you're the male in this situation, is to not do a lot of talking, right? You do a lot of talking, people do a lot of thinking, and they often do, or sometimes can do, a lot of changing of their mind. So I get it. So it's smoother to just kind of go with the flow, and if nobody says no, then you take that as a yes. But I think we need to make consent sexy. Like, consent doesn't mean we stop and we like, back up 50 feet and it's like, are you okay? I'm okay. Do you want to do this? Like, I think there are ways to gauge and get consent that don't make a night awkward but cover everyone involved.
I agree with you on that, but we're not in that space at the moment.
But that's what we're moving to.
We're moving there. Like, that is where we will probably, especially with the way this is going, we'll probably eventually get there where we will have rearranged, like, well, you don't want to talk about that. But at some point in time in the future, people's, early sexual encounters are going to be very different than our early sexual encounters, because of the way we've changed the mindset of what consent looks like and what passion looks like. So I'm fine with that overall. However, we are not in that paradigm right now. And if this, so let me not also leave out that we're talking about Aziz Ansari, a brown man of Islamic and Arabic descent,
yes,
and a white woman. And there is a lot concerning.
Well, do we know she's a white woman?
We know she's a white woman. Well, several other places I've went have talked about her as a white woman. So I don't know this for a fact, but that seems to be all indications point to that. This idea that this, like, so I'm never gonna say you deserved anything. And I'm not saying that she doesn't have the right to feel like it went bad and she doesn't like Aziz anymore. Of course she does. And that Aziz is an asshole. Like, all those things can be her truth, and I will never dispute it. I don't like at all her putting this in the same category as the women that were harassed by Harvey Weinstein, the women harassed by Louis C.K., another comedian. All these stories that we'll eventually talk about.
I'm with you.
And so that is my main issue here, is that we're not talking about him not seeking. So if the conversation was about him not doing the best job of seeking, what's the phrase? Consistent and enthusiastic consent. Mm-hmm. Like, so there's a conversation about that, right? I'm with you there. However, not seeking consistent, enthusiastic consent while two adult people are having consensual sex acts, and then coming after the fact and calling it sexual assault. You can't say not seeking consent while two consenting because it was consensual. But you don't know if you. She didn't like it, but it was consensual.
So that's really problematic.
That's problematic, but that's the reality of the situation. If you don't like
what somebody's doing to you, well, I guess you could still consent to it.
There was a really interesting blog. Hold on, let me finish.
Go ahead.
Because you want to play off this. I'm going to just kind of throw this out there and you can go ahead. There's a really interesting blog came out a little while ago about women that said they had sex to be polite. They have had sex with people before to be polite. And it was profound because it was something I feel like I had experienced the flip side of.
Yeah.
And it's something that definitely has to be a part of the conversation where, and that's kind of what was going on here.
So you said the word conversation. I think that's what this story should start. Or should start, right? It can be part of the conversation, right? A different level of conversation than the conversation we're having around Louis C.K. and some of the other people you named. So when I said I'm with you in not like blackballing Aziz, right? Because there's this like bloodthirst by some folks around these movements where they just want to immediately, like, as soon as a man of any stature's name is mentioned and, sexual assault is mentioned a few characters away, it's like, okay, we can not view his art. He must never work again. We must never speak his name.
And see, so I'm not. Stuff that happens.
I'm not there. So that is a problem to me. That's a problem to me. So there's some uncomfortable facts and things that need to be explored around their exchange, yes, right? And I think based on the facts that you shared, she does have every right, and I don't have to think it, to feel uncomfortable with how things went down. But I also think the responsible way to move forward with men like Aziz is to have a conversation about what consent needs to look like and feel like for both parties moving forward. I think that's the healthy way to move forward. I don't think blackballing him. So I don't know what Babe wanted.
Well, they didn't. Nobody ever, when these things happens, it's usually never within the inciting incident, the article, the interview, whatever, to say now we will blackball such and such.
So I guess I'm looking for the comments. Like, what are people saying?
The comments, they don't have any comments here.
Okay.
But the initial reaction was the flood of angry stuff. But unlike the other cases, as people kind of looked at what was going on, there's a lot of counter responses that say exactly the main thing I feel, which is it's irresponsible. One, just on a lower level, in my personal opinion, for what you did to this man and his reputation, etc. She calls it a sexual assault. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a problem. And then it's also irresponsible too, not just the movement that's been going on, which we'll probably touch on later, but women who have actually been sexually assaulted, like who have actually.
So I think I started this off saying the conversation off like we need to define sexual assault, which has been defined. So folks, you don't have to let me know that.
Right.
But I started off like, what's sexual assault? What's not sexual assault? But the bottom line is, if you feel uncomfortable, then it's an assault.
No.
On your person. Right? We can't say that. Like when you said she called it sexual assault, I'm thinking in her mind it was sexual assault. So we have a healthy dialogue about like how we prevent other women from experiencing this and other well-intentioned men.
Slope. You are infantilizing her and vilifying, really in a way dehumanizing him.
No, I'm saying that like, when
because now if
you can't tell someone how to feel, right? So if I feel assaulted by your behavior, right, regardless of how extreme it may have been, I have the right to feel assaulted.
That's fine.
Cool. So she has the right to call it what she wants to call it. I think the healthy way to move forward is, okay, you called it this, fine, right? Let's talk about what happened, and let's talk about how we act more responsibly on both ends. Like if she decided to perform oral sex because she thought, okay, I went on a date, I'm gonna assume, I think she was a photographer, I'm gonna assume that Aziz paid for it, right? That's usually customary. Probably. So I went on a date and he paid for it, and he's been great. Like so maybe she was doing that, and maybe that therein lies her regret, about it the next day. It's like, wait, I didn't really want to do that. I didn't really like him. I didn't really feel compelled to do it, other than the fact that I was in his space. It was not the most comfortable situation, and I felt like that would get me to the exit quicker. So like we talk about that. We talk about that you don't. No one should feel like you have to have sex to be polite. And we also talk to young men about getting explicit consent, how that can be sexy. Being in tune with not just your own desires, but the desires and the posture and behavior of someone else. You know what I'm saying? Like that is what makes sex great.
I agree with that, but you're missing a part. And one of the people, I think it was Atlantic, had somebody that posted, and she is a older woman writer who makes very interesting comparisons to like the things she went through as a young woman trying to make it in the 70s to what it is now. And she, what did she say? I don't remember the exact words. But the point of what she was saying was that this movement has attained power. there is so much more. There are, and I've said this about some people I've been critical of on the internet that I've had a conversations with before, is that there's some people, a lot of them are women, who are finding power in their voice that they've never had before, that they never probably even expected to have, and they have to a great abundance in the last 6 months to a year, which is great on a lot of levels. But there is a responsibility in power. It's a responsibility, A, to the people you exert power over, and B, to the people you share that power with. Because what she's done is given fuel to every other fuckboy, every MRA, and right wing, what's the word? Alt-right type guy, to talk about how women make stuff up and women are emotional and da-da-da-da.
So those people are going to do that and do that with all of these stories regardless.
But there are a lot of people in the margins that can go either way. There are. And that sounds crazy to us because it's like, to me, it doesn't seem like there's any other side to the coin. But this is literally an other side to that coin. We have a guy who was trying to get a what's the word? Trying to engage in a sexual encounter. He had what seemed to, for the most part, like a willing participant on a lot of levels.
So I would love to, and obviously we're not going to be able to ask Aziz that, but my question is, what defines a willing participant? What defines a willing participant? He had a date. He had a woman who was willing to go out to eat with him, who also felt comfortable enough to come back to his home. Now, I'm sure that there are some details that, because I think this happened a while ago,
September.
Right? So, and just by virtue of like how it's come out and trying to, I'm sure there are details that we are missing, but I would have to ask, what made you think you had a willing participant?
And that's the problem. There's no clear, definable answer to that question as of now. To me, a willing participant.
So that's what I think we need to work on.
Well, yes, but I want to get this out. To me, a willing participant is a person that said yes to the date, yes to go back to my apartment, yes to allow me to undress her, yes to allow me to perform oral sex on her, yes to perform oral sex on me.
But see, you're putting a lot of yeses in there that don't exist. That's the problem. But she said yes to the date, right? So I'm going to give you that. She said yes to the date. She had to show up.
Right.
She said yes to the date.
She said yes to going back to his apartment.
She probably was formally asked if she wanted to go back to his apartment, and she said yes to that. Everything else seems very unclear. It doesn't seem like she was asked.
But everything else is at a baseline standard always unclear.
So I get you there. So good. So for that reason, because that has been the standard, right? Mm-hmm. And we're honest about it.
Right.
We don't drag Aziz. We don't drag him because he was only operating within the parameters that have been set for years and generations. Or like most people understand that you don't necessarily get explicit, enthusiastic consent when a night of passion is just kind of
that's rolling out of a
So you don't explicitly get, but it doesn't mean that we can't try and actively work to be better. So I think that's what we do with this.
Right. I think it's just it's really important to me that we put a clear note in to include parts of what I'm saying in the conversation, because a lot of people are uncomfortable with that part of this conversation. They want to, on one end, create this, kind of unrealistic and at this point in time unnatural standard of how people are supposed to act, and at the same time, like, they don't want to adhere to the same rules. Because she could have said no and left at so many other points in this encounter, and when she did say no, he explicitly said, you know what? He said something like, it's only fun if we're both having fun, or something like that. Okay, basically so letting her know, like, yeah, if you're not into it, we'll stop.
Another
what is he supposed to do?
I didn't know. So I think, like I said,
and
we don't
talking about going on second dates with him.
We don't drag Aziz. We use this incident that is very different from some of the other incidences that we heard of, to just talk about how consent can be sexy, right? Consent can be sexy. A lot of things can be sexy. Like Oprah can be sexy. right?
I guess that's a good time to transition about Oprah. Oprah's kind of sexy, I guess. I always thought Oprah had like a dope.
Oprah really is, like at the Golden Globes, right? So you had Aziz.
How old is
but
Oprah
then,
now?
Oh, Oprah's like well into her 60s.
Interesting.
Like well into her 60s.
Look that
and
up
and she looked like really, really fly. Like her waist was snatched. She was well put together, but then she's Oprah, right? I mean, there's not a chance that Oprah's gonna step out to something like that.
She is 63.
Oh, okay. I actually thought she was a little older, honestly. But Oprah's gonna be snatched when it's time to be Oprah. When the lights are on.
That's nice to know. I don't really fuck with Oprah. I don't dislike Oprah like avidly, and I'm here for all the things that Oprah represents in terms of
so
powerful black women.
Why don't you fuck with Oprah?
Because Oprah's kooky, and she's never paid the price for that. Oprah promoted The Secret. Oprah promoted Dr. Oz.
Your mama read The Secret.
And you dragged my mama a couple of shows ago.
I did. I did.
And she read, why she read The Secret?
I'm just reminding you. You love some people who read The Secret.
Yeah, I do. And you know why she read The Secret?
Because of Oprah?
Because of Oprah. And so Oprah made Dr. Phil a thing, and Dr. Phil made Catch Me Outside a thing. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, so you read that article that was floating around social media, like all the bad things
I've been
that
feeling
Oprah
like this
did.
before, but that article is as it's happened, and be fair, as it's happened countless times we've been together. There's somebody out there that blogs a thought that I've been saying forever. Oprah gave us Ayalana, whatever her name is.
Yeah,
Fix My Life.
It's not Ayanla.
Whatever her name.
Like her name is actually something else, but that's what she goes by.
So the idea of Oprah, first off, Oprah would never make it. If she made it, it would be on some Donald Trump shit.
So first of all, I think we both agree we don't want another celebrity.
No Oprah 2020.
Right? So I love the hype around Oprah
I love the
2020.
Hype.
Right?
I
love that Stedman may or may not have accidentally said she's down for it. And I love how like Gayle is talking about it on her morning show and playing and doing this dance of like, will she, won't she? I don't know. She may be open. So I love it. But no, I don't want Oprah 2020. But I will say that this is the best use of Oprah's platform, like what she's doing now.
Yeah.
The Super Soul Sundays, the different. You don't like the Super Soul Sundays?
No. I'm frustrated because you just said something very true. This is the best use of Oprah's platform.
Yeah.
How long did it take her to get
I think Oprah, I genuinely think that Oprah has been on a quest to live her best life probably since we met her, right? She talks about before she got The Color Purple, and I know she had her show before that. I don't think her show was like really popular and hit all the markets that he eventually hit, but she was at a fat farm, and they call it a fat farm, or she called it a fat farm, so I'm not like, that's not me, but she was literally like at some place where they starve you and they try to like pray and beat the fat away. That's fucking awful. Yeah, and she was running a track and singing and praying and all kinds of stuff. I don't know. Go look up the story. And Steven Spielberg calls her and is like, hey, you got this role. And her life kind of took a different turn after that. She has constantly been trying to evolve, to be a better person, to understand and be sympathetic and empathetic to the needs of others. And so, like, when you're doing that, you make mistakes along the way. Like, I was just talking about it at the beginning of the show. Like, I want to serve. All I do is work for money. And, like, that's good because you need money. But I should be doing something to enrich people's lives, to build people up, to promote their success, all that kind of stuff. And so, in your quest to do that, you may try some things or say some things that then you're like, okay, no, that wasn't the thing. Or now I believe differently. That's just part of being human, right? And so
it is.
So when Oprah gave us Dr. Phil and all the other folks, it was reflective of where she was and what she valued at that time. And she just had a big enough platform to manifest those things and put those people on huge stages, right?
Right.
But I don't know if you fault. I don't know if you make her. I don't know if that makes her a bad person.
I don't know if it makes her a bad person. I'm just explaining why I don't fuck with her. I just why I'm not a huge fan of her in general. I think we don't have to talk about why her presidency situation wouldn't work.
No, because it shouldn't happen.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen just in general. But it's like Oprah. How long has Oprah been untouchable?
So Oprah's not. She had the whole beef industry sue her. Like she's not untouchable.
And she won. How long has she been untouchable? How long has she she has been the queen of media for a good 20 years?
Well, no, she struggled. OWN struggled. The original programming at OWN was obsolete, and then when it came about, it was horrible. Now, I don't watch any of the Tyler Perry programs.
Right.
Oh, Oprah brought us Tyler Perry.
Yes,
did Oprah bring us Tyler Perry?
She didn't bring us Tyler Perry.
No,
I
don't think she did.
Okay. She put on her channel.
For a moment, I thought Oprah brought us Tyler Perry, and that was gonna actually.
I want to make sure I establish this point. When people started talking about Oprah running for president, one person that didn't say shit. Donald Trump. Think about that for a second. He has shit to say.
So we had a friend point that out to us, and I think it's because Donald Trump
is scared of Oprah.
Yes, is scared of Oprah because Donald Trump doesn't take the presidency serious, right? So he is now forced to.
He gonna have to go on her show to rehabilitate
to carry
himself.
some serious job responsibility.
Put him on. By the way.
No, stop. I think so of course there are things that come along with the presidency that Donald Trump has to do that are of a serious nature. But I think in general, he doesn't take the presidency serious. Mm-hmm. And because he was a celebrity and that was his, what gave him, that was what he used to merit his candidacy and then his ability to be a president. I think he legitimately looks at other celebrities as viable competitors. As ridiculous as that sounds,
I get you.
And so he's not going to comment on Oprah because in his mind, Oprah really could be the next president.
Donald Trump has came at Cory Booker. Donald Trump has came at Joe Biden.
Because all those people are real intellects, people who have really put in work. Mm-hmm. To be leaders.
He's come at some of these celebrities. He's come at a bunch of celebrities. He didn't say, listen, no, I'm sorry. I understand what you're trying to do. No, he ain't coming at Oprah because he know he not going to win that fight in the media. Period. Even as the president.
Oprah is a darling. Oprah, so, okay.
No. Let me finish your point.
Go.
Oprah is powerful.
Yeah.
She's a beast. And here's my main point. And I know I cut you off.
She drugged just like a normal person on Twitter.
I didn't know she did.
Yeah, she was just having a bad day. She's never done it before. Person had to shut down their Twitter account.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, but here's my thing. Name the major movement Oprah had for black people in the last 20 years.
Y'all don't like to read.
Radio silence.
Y'all don't like to read. She said she tried to give black babies books, and they didn't want them, so she had to go to Africa.
We wanted iPod and Jordans and some shit like that. So she built a school in Africa, which I'm not gonna blame her for some of the fucked up shit that happened there, because that's a friend said that's kind of typical. But you see my point there. So I'd give her a pass if she had to answer to a lot of powerful white people. But now
she believes black babies want to read.
She didn't even say shit about black women too tough in that speech. You peeped that? She kind of glossed over.
Okay, that speech was bomb.
It was bomb, but she kind of glossed over black women in that speech.
How in the hell?
She low-key said I'm pretty sure she said all lives matter.
No, did you listen to the speech?
I
want. Please come for him. Please come for him. No, you were playing video games while I listened to the speech. You weren't with me. Like we were at the Golden Globes. I was with you. I was at the table. We were together. No, you were doing something else, and you may have heard snippets of the speech behind you. That doesn't qualify as listening to the speech. She literally told the story of an African American woman who was sexually assaulted, who was raped by multiple white men on her way home, I think, from work. And she reported it, but because she was black and because she was a woman and because she was accusing white men, nothing happened. And it was Rosa Parks who worked on who got involved in her case and trying to create a movement that would get attention for the case, so hopefully she could get justice. And of course, we know what happened to Rosa Parks, and she laid it up like that, right? And I'm sure I'm not remembering all the facts of that horrible, horrible story correctly, but she most definitely gave space in her speech to say, and of everyone who was wronged, Black women have been wronged. You know what I'm saying? But I think there's a time by talking about a Black woman who had to.
That's maybe a little bit of my hate. I'll go
it's
back.
It's a
and
lot of bit of your hate. It's a lot of bit of your hate. You're doing what certain folks would do to Barack Obama. Like if he didn't say, and I'm here for Black people, and everybody else say shit, drop the mic, then like it wasn't good enough.
But here's the major difference. Barack had people to answer to. Oprah has nobody. Can't nobody cut Oprah's money.
So we all.
Can't nobody cut Oprah's checks.
Know, what are you talking about? So fame and fortune is addictive, and it's a master. Mm-hmm. Oprah is beholden to everybody who freaking watches OWN
by choice
and buys her shit,
not by elected
and
ballot. Listens
to, I think Super Soul Sunday is actually like a podcast. Mm-hmm. You know, like no, it like. Okay, yes, by choice, in the fact that, like, okay, if she quit or if people stop liking her, she's made enough money off of everyone that she could, like, go to her own personal island and just be like, screw it. But once you've had that drug for so long, you can't leave it alone. Like, trust me, Oprah's moves, her magazine covers have always been very strategic and very calculated. Her poses, the colors, you know, her makeup, like all of it is manufactured to a T, and it's because she knows who her audience is, and she doesn't want to disrupt things, and she doesn't want to have them turn against her, and she wants to carefully manage it so she gets the feel of being celebrated, being a queen, being a god of what she does.
So I mean that's cool, and I'm not saying that's incorrect. But you do see my perspective to an extent in terms of
I get it.
Like Oprah's never been, for her to have been the only Black billionaire for however long. I think she's still the only Black American billionaire.
I don't know.
She might be,
say.
Or at least American-born Black billionaire. For that to be the case and have been the case for a good, like at least a good decade and some change, it is to me it's disappointing that she still does not have a iconic for the people moment. You know what I'm saying? Did she? You know, like, and to me that's.
She worked with Barack.
I really do. I thought it was dope. You know what? I love the Legends Ball. I'll give her that.
Oh, Legends Ball.
Legends Ball was dope. I'll give her that.
I watched that video of like the women passing the mic and singing. Did you see that?
I probably did, but you know, stuff like that doesn't hold my attention to stuff. But I remember it being like beautiful on a lot of levels and inspiring.
Yeah, she's done some stuff. Look, I feel like I spent a lot of time defending Oprah. I don't think Oprah's perfect. I would not vote for Oprah to be president, by the way.
Unless she was running against
Kamala Harris. Come on now. Cory Booker. You're losing somebody.
You think I'm done? I'm done with Cory until he gets serious. You think Camilla could survive? You know, we got too much other stuff. Because we running long already.
I don't know. Just want to put it out in the universe.
So let's change. Let's get ratchet for a second. We went real serious the first two topics.
You know, I was gonna say, you know, so Oprah, yeah, she hasn't always been real, but I know somebody who is.
Why don't you
Cardi.
tell us? You know, I really like Cardi.
I love Cardi,
but I can't help but feel like her be owning to the fact that she's a cautionary tale doesn't negate the fact that she's a cautionary tale, and we have to keep in mind that she is a cautionary tale. You know what I'm saying?
You lost me at cautionary tale. I love people who are authentically their selves.
That's true. I always fuck with her for that. So she's in the news because you're reviewing a year, even though Oprah did that speech like last week.
Yeah.
So Cardi got engaged last September, ish.
I don't know.
After Motorsport dropped, Motorsport.
Was it that? Was it? No, it wasn't September. It wasn't that long ago. Was it?
No later than November. It had to be November then.
Okay.
And then like literally a month later, we had the first cheating scandal from Offset, who said he had sworn off all the hoes. And then like it happened again like 2 weeks ago. But that one isn't confirmed. And she's still with him. And like
isn't confirmed. How does one confirm a cheating scandal? Does the person he cheated with have to come out and say, yes, it was me, or it was real?
Or her. For me, the only way you confirm a cheating scandal is there's an irrefutable video.
Okay.
Or
didn't he have a video?
The video was not irrefutable. The video was like hardly irrefutable.
Was it R. Kelly's video?
It wasn't like R. Kelly's video. Which,
gotcha.
We'll stop there. It was a easily refutable video, and neither one of them, from my knowledge, came out and said, yes, this is a new scandal. But before, Cardi came out and said, yeah, it happened. I told him if he does it again, I'm out. Which I
saw a snippet. So first of all, I will never watch videos, so I will never know if they're irrefutable or not. I'm anti watching people's sex tapes unless they like release them and say, hey, I would like you to watch this. Tell me what you think.
Right.
So, but I did see her come on a stage and be like, I told him if this happens again, you're gonna lose your wife or something like that. Did you
Beyonce
see that?
quotes.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. You can only really live as a cautionary tale if you're no longer cautionary, is my main thing. It's like it's great. All the things she's done, great. The presence she has in the media right now, a lot of her songs I fucks with. But I can't give her my full like stamp of approval if she's gonna fuck with the thug nigga that cheats on you and like kind of lives that cliche.
I don't
like
mind
recycles
it because
that
that's
cliche.
what she's. So that's like who she is, right? So she may, she's coming up really quickly. So she may change. We're talking about people evolving and changing and doing things at certain phases of their lives that make them cringe when they move to the next level. So when she gets to the next level, which she is rapidly approaching, right? Because she's very paid, I think, right?
She's doing well.
Yeah, she's doing well. So when she gets to the next level, she may be like, I need a new guy. I need a guy who matches my level. But right now, the regular smegular girl from the Bronx, or whatever she says she is, maybe it's the Bronx, maybe it's Brooklyn, whatever. Like she is supposed to be with that guy, right? That goes with the character. That goes with the character. And I don't think she's being a character. I really think she's being authentic. So we all know the girls, some of them are my cousins. Shout out to y'all. We all know the girls in the hood who like date the hood guys and they go on Facebook or wherever and like,
talk about him all the time.
Yeah, talk about him. He's not nothing. They post like Mary J quotes and all kinds of stuff, take me as I am and, and stuff like that. But then
don't forget Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, or whatever. But they still stay with the guy because that's part of the story. That is what you do in that cycle.
But it's still cringeworthy to me that I don't know. It's not quite. She loses a little luster. Not her particular, but her presence in the media, her relevance to the people, to the kids. Like especially as a person that worked with some of the girls.
Cardi's losing no relevance with the kids.
Well, no, she's not losing relevance, but her story of redemption, well, not redemption, that's probably problematic. But her story of kind of transforming her trajectory resonates. It resonated better for me when it didn't end with her still kind of being.
So this is where people laugh at us when we talk about people like Cardi B, because Cardi B's story is not about transforming her trajectory.
It is.
It's about getting money. It's about getting money. Cardi B is not transforming anything. She is trying to get money and she's happy she got it and she's just a girl living a dream right now. Yeah, And so she always talks about how she still has beef with real girls from the hood. Like, like what?
Well,
like, so I'm good with it. Like, I'm, not gonna celebrate anybody who's in a real relationship getting cheated on, but I will say I'm okay. I'm still here for Cardi, and I think she's just doing the Cardi B thing, and I think young women will still learn from it and laugh at it and still enjoy it. Most definitely, Cardi B's going nowhere.
Well, speaking of getting money, cringing, and beef.
Okay, that's an interesting combination.
Let's talk about H&M real quick before we wrap things up.
Getting money, cringing, and beef. So I get
They're
the
not
cringing.
getting any money from a lot of black people anymore.
Or the little boy got money.
The little boy got money.
Yeah, I don't know what the beef is.
A lot of there's beef between. So there's a lot of beef in this story. So there's obvious. Everybody agrees that H&M was wrong for what they did.
Dissenting opinions.
Right, and I think our opinion is not going to be as popular as other opinions. So obviously H&M is wrong for that, on so many levels. The question is there's a question of malicious intent versus stupidity. I would say for the most part it doesn't make a difference.
Intent doesn't change impact.
Intent doesn't change impact.
It was stupidity for sure.
Yeah.
I'm convinced it was a stupid oversight.
Yeah.
By a team of people
that
who
didn't include any people of color. This is why you gotta have. This is why in 2018, if there's one thing that Black Twitter and like the hashtag activists have done, is they have made it precarious to not have black voices in your ear when you make important decisions. You gotta have black voice. Like, I don't know who you are if you're listening. If you're making important decisions that are, especially if they're at all in the public eye, if you don't have black voices in your ear, you raising your chances of fucking up.
Yeah, because when it comes to like fashion and things like that,
anything.
Black culture is the culture,
right?
And we say what's cool,
like the Pepsi ad.
Yeah, we say what's cool. So, like, no matter who you think your target demographic is, you need to have us in the room, because if we don't let it fly, it won't fly. And H&M learned that, because we're not letting this fly, or most people are not letting this fly.
Or they could just say, you gonna put the monkey graphic on the black boy? Like, that's that simple of a conversation.
Black voice would have done.
Like, don't put the monkey graphic on the black boy. Put the monkey graphic on somebody else, because nobody else will be called a monkey.
Yeah, because if they would have switched those sweaters, would have been perfectly fine. And the crazy thing is, so I don't know. So much of it was nonsense to me. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah. I think that you have to. Yeah, I think you have to pick your battles. And I just think with everything going on and all the important conversations we're having, this was just not an important conversation to have. This was, okay, I'm not going to spend my money there. That's cool if you want to do that. I'm definitely not going to buy the damn sweater for my kid. But this was not worthy of the attention that we gave H&M. Even if it was dragging them, I just don't think it was worth it.
Because folks got real serious about this.
Oh, yeah. I watched, some mall in some part of Africa, I think, which is like stupid to say because it's a full continent.
Some part of Africa.
Like, laugh at me. I'm laughing at myself.
That was
like really ignorant, right? But this also came from Facebook. But there were people like destroying an H&M, like just straight, like guys knocking over the mannequins, swinging whole racks of clothes, and just like,
so I understand people's passion to an extent, because like. Shit is serious. Shit is real. It doesn't feel good to feel shit upon as much as we're already shit upon, right? But so here's a couple things that I think a lot of people don't understand, and I may be wrong, but like 90% of the time, those like shoots, the boy was probably just wearing a green sweater.
So that's what I was about to say.
And I was about to say that. Words on it.
Usually they can change and plop on different graphics and outfits or whatever to the model that's just in like this standard pose. So I don't know if the kid actually put the sweater on, because there was a lot of attacks to the mom, because I think the mom may have said like, let it go, he got paid, or I don't know, something like that, and people are like, questioning her as a mother. I don't know if she actually ever saw him in the shirt. I just feel like in the whole scheme of life. So what this tells me, for those well-intentioned people who were just outraged by this, it just tells me how much 45 is ruining the world, right? Because this is what happens when people are on the edge, right? When you're on the edge, right, and you have to deal with the bullshit that we have to deal with on a constant basis, because 45's bullshit impacts everybody, right? He's the president of the United States, but the shit he says is heard and felt around the world. That is that's what comes with the job, right? And so, like, when you have people on the edge like this, like, shit that maybe they would be like, okay, whatever, I'm going to roll my eyes at this one, I'm going to keep it moving. They go black. They black out. And I think with some of this, even if it was, like, Facebook activism, like, people blacked out with this because it was like, okay, I'm dealing with too much bullshit for y'all to have this little black boy in a monkey shirt. And I get that. But now that we've had our moment to say H&M is stupid and that was stupid and they're culturally insensitive. Yeah, and I'm definitely not saying buy this. Yeah, I don't buy this stuff. I did once upon a time, I ain't gonna lie. If you go to my Facebook and you find something, I don't want you to be like, well, wait. So, so I did.
But that's hashtag activism though. Like, if you get famous, if you was famous right now and this podcast came out, somebody would go through your old Facebook
and they would see some H&M
and find a picture of you in an H&M dress from 2008 and then use that to drag you for a week. Like, that's like, I really wish I was cool.
Maybe. I would like to think that people would try to do their research and see if it was pre-monkey sweater, post-monkey sweater. But anyway, I think people are just on edge, and this triggered some folks. Yeah. And I forgive y'all. But I'm going to say, let's just stop. Like, if you're not going to spend your money there, by all means, don't spend your money there. But you don't even need to make an announcement for that. Right. So yeah, so let's just let it go, and definitely don't drag the mom. Like, don't drag the mom.
Yeah, that's awful.
Don't drag the mom.
Because that shows that you don't really care. You just angry.
You're just angry. Yeah, you're just angry. And I hope that kid comes up. I think, like, I heard Sean John offer him money. I don't know if that was a joke, because I also heard people say, like, is Sean John still the thing? And I was thinking to myself, like, is Sean John still the thing? But anyway, if Diddy's cutting checks, I hope he gets one. Right. And
Diddy ain't known for actually
I hope he wins, because he was a gorgeous little boy. He was definitely a gorgeous little boy.
So lighten it up to wrap it up. The Shady couple just watched a couple things. So I guess let's start with the thing we actually both finished, even though you were so mad at me.
Did we finish it though? I was really mad at you. You really tried our relationship.
Didn't talk to me for
and it's
most
very
of the
early
day.
in the year. It's very early in the year. I had to have some serious conversations with myself in January that, like, I wasn't expecting to have. So we have a rule in our house, an unofficial rule, that when we hear about good shows that come out, we watch them together. Right? Which sometimes means that we have to wait a while to watch them because we're not always on the same schedule, but we try to watch them together. And if you watch the show without the person, that's really, like, that's foul.
It hardly ever happens.
But let me tell you why, and it does. But let me tell you why this is, like, extra foul. Because this particular show, Fiq did not want to watch. True. He did not want to watch. I asked, and this has happened before. Like, I'll see a show because you just don't respect my opinion on good shit until you're exposed, and then you're and then you take it and you rebrand it. Oh yeah, it's about to get ugly. So,
well, I will respect your opinion if you didn't hate watch so much stuff. How about that?
Well, whatever. I'm fixing that. That's part of my 2018 thing. I'm gonna get better. But anyway, this show, I'm like, hey, I've heard of it. It seems like really, really cool. I've heard some people talk about it. I keep seeing the previews. I really want to watch the show. He's like, yeah, I don't want to watch that show. I'm not interested. I don't want to watch that show. I'm not interested. Finally, I corner him. We start watching the show, and I get tired, and I fall asleep, right? This dude watches four
episodes.
He basically continues the show. And then the next day, I'm like, so maybe, like, we'll watch some more of that show. I'm sorry I went to sleep. Like, it was just a great show. Thinking he's going to say, yeah, we can, tune back in. Or maybe he's going to say, no, I didn't like it. We're not.
I was like, yeah, because it got good.
Yeah, it got good by episode whatever. And I'm like, huh? Like, what do you mean? Like, did somebody tell you this?
She shut
and he's like,
down
no,
for real.
I watched additional episodes. And I was like, this is the ultimate betrayal. The ultimate betrayal. It really stung, and I think I stopped talking to him for a while. And
you didn't talk to me for most of the day. Like we're in the car with our kids.
It's bringing back some raw emotion,
and it's just stories and Disney music in the car and a little singing from the youngest one, and it's just silence in the front seat. And I was like, "Dang, is this what broke us?"
It was a dark moment. It was a dark.
But eventually, you came around, and we did finish it. And how did you like it? We haven't talked much about it. So the bottom
line is, I didn't really plug in because even though you had given me an update, I didn't really feel connected because I didn't really watch a large portion of the show.
I want to point out this because you refused to. It was not that I didn't want to go back. You were in your feelings.
Everybody knows you don't go
and you
back
said,
and
that's
watch.
not true.
You have to experience.
That's you. You're the only person. You're the only person.
No, everybody knows that.
No, that's
everybody
not true.
knows you
we
have to
literally
experience
know a
it
couple.
together. I'm not going to watch something with you that you've already
watched. We literally
watched.
know two couples, in fact, where one person still hasn't watched all the episodes of Game of Thrones, but they watch every new episode.
And that's disgraceful. And we tell those people that. And I'm not trying to go backwards. I'm trying to be better.
Well, either way, it resonated a lot with me because I'm into like left of center.
Did we say the name of the show?
Oh shit, we didn't. End of the Fucking World.
End of the Fucking World. Go
watch
that.
It is a British dark comedy about two teenagers who are complete societal outcasts and misanthropes coming from pretty fucked up home lives that run away together and hijinks ensues. It's not very gory, but a little violent. A lot of curse words, some awkward and uncomfortable sexual activity. But it all informs the tone, the comedy, and the heart, really, of the show. It's based off a comic book I'd have never heard of or read the comic book, but which means I don't think we're getting a second season of it. I think it was a one and done. Which and the way it ended was a little problematic. Well, not problematic, but if you're a person, so spoiler alert. In 5, 4, we're not gonna actually tell the ending, by the way, but spoiler alert: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're a type of person that looks for really satisfying, solid endings that wraps everything up, this is not for you. This is not for you. I'm that person. That's why it was problematic. Right, because the ending would have, if it was a good ending, you probably would have been like, okay, let's talk about it more. But we haven't mentioned that show since it ended for us. Well, the night before last. Well, that's also because it was just a sore spot in our relationship. But yeah, I mean, it was a good show. Yeah. It was a good show. It was entertaining enough because for us in our household, we're between all the things that we're really looking forward to seeing. Right. And so Westworld this was this was a good time space and it's quick. Filler. It's I think only like 9 episodes. Are only 20 minutes. And the episodes average about 21 minutes. Maybe. Yeah. So which is why I got through 4 episodes in one night because the first episode was 18 minutes. And your ass couldn't stay awake. I'm just saying. Self-control. Anyway. It's very bad. But I tell you a show that I am liking, since we're kind of moving on. Straight about to skip is The Shy. So I've only seen the pilot, but it was a really good pilot. So usually you don't sell people on the pilot of the show. I mean, the show, that's how you sell the show to platforms. But most people don't get hooked off of the pilot. The pilot was really, really good. So The Shy is obviously a show based in Chicago. The lead actor, though, is actually from New Orleans, which I thought was really, really cool. Gotta play Eazy-E. Yes. And it just follows the stories of families experiencing tragedy in Chicago, showing how they're intertwined. Well, let's not say experiencing tragedy, just experiencing Chicago. Well, no, they're experiencing... No, there was only one tragedy, and I'm sure there's going to be more. But there's actually 2 tragedies. Oh yeah, there were 2. There were 2. So it's following the happenings around those tragedies in a way that is uniquely Chicago. Maybe is that fair? I don't know if it's uniquely Chicago. It's uniquely the hood. It's uniquely that particular like experience of blackness within a certain range of community activity and economic access. Because one of the characters, the guy that plays Eazy-E, he has gained access to a higher level and quality of life than his family and his mother, which is a point of conflict.
Which is good to see in a character.
Right, which you get to see because that's something that we don't get to see often. Him negotiating those two worlds and those pulling forces.
So, full circle, the woman who is the creator of The Shy, I cannot think of her name right now. It's probably going to come to me after this podcast. Maybe you can do your Googles while I talk. She is actually the African American woman who won a Academy Award. Is that what you win? I don't know, for her episode of Master of None, which is Aziz's show. I'm totally like butchering this.
Lena Waithe.
Yes, she's bomb.
No clue.
Genderqueer or
I
queer.
feel like I recognize her face.
Woman. I don't think I need to put gender in front of that, but you guys get it. She's bomb. She's like up and coming. She's an excellent writer. And she wrote an episode of the Thanksgiving episode. I think it was, of Masters of None, and got an award for it. And that really got her pub and people checking for her who weren't checking for her before. And now she has The Shy, and The Shy, I think, is poised to be a really amazing show.
And that's awesome. And you have my full permission and enthusiastic
We're gonna watch
consent
the first episode.
to watch.
If it wasn't so late, we'd watch the first episode.
Second
tonight.
episode.
Second
That's
episode.
How late it
well,
is,
yeah,
'cause you don't know
pilot
if there's
and
between
second.
1 and 2 right
Shut
now.
up.
You have my full enthusiastic consent to watch that by yourself. I will try to watch the second episode with you. But I've never fucked with those types of shows, those types of movies, outside of the music, which is just a different beast because it's music. I've lived that. See, for me, and this is no judgment on anybody else, because I'm sure there's some people who have worked in, social work and education and activism and social outreach, etc., that love these shows on a certain levels. But for me, these shows are just painful to watch and an emotional drain, because it just reminds me of what I do and how futile and pointless. Like, I've never seen Precious. I haven't seen any black people trying to make it movies. I didn't see Get on the Bus. I didn't see Detroit. I didn't see.
You haven't seen any. You just
in a while. I haven't seen any. No, I haven't
okay.
seen a single one. I can't think of the last.
I guess Detroit. I forgot. Detroit is actually a newer.
Yeah,
movie,
like and the one it's not Get on the Bus. That was actually an older one. Which I still didn't see. Selma. I didn't see Selma.
I didn't see Selma either.
It's because you with me, and
You're ruining me.
I dictate movie trips, and I was like, I'm not going to see that. And it's not to discredit those movies or the stories they tell, but I'm just not interested in I'm not interested in seeing these things as a form of entertainment. If I have time to sit in my bed and look at a screen that is meant to entertain me, I want to see something funny or fantastical or intensely dramatic in a way that that doesn't reflect my real life. I want to watch Bright, maybe my favorite movie of last year. I don't want to watch The Shy, where I have to see a kid who literally looks like, that one kid looked like my former step team member.
Yeah, so I get it.
You know what I'm saying?
Get
and
it.
to watch him get shot on the screen, no, I don't fuck with
I think
that.
it's.
I'm sorry.
I get that it takes you to a negative place. So full disclaimer. I don't know. Disclosure. Should have been full disclosure, but I wanted to say, here's a disclaimer. Yeah, you get it.
You tired. We're going to wrap it up after this.
Don't watch it if you are on the front lines and you're triggered by those types of stories, because it definitely is that kind of story. But I'm told it was better than Spike Lee's story that he told on the silver screen. Is it?
What was that? The silver screen. Chirac. I would watch that. I want to watch that.
So you want to see Chirac?
Because that was based off a Shakespearean play, and it's like ridiculous, and it's a musical.
I did hear it's ridiculous.
And so I would watch that for its ridiculousness, and because that provides enough levity for me to watch it and suspend my belief and enjoy it as a form of entertainment.
Gotcha.
I don't get. It's kind of like how you can hate watch, and I can't hate watch it. I don't think I hate watch anything, unless it's like The Room or something that's really
not
funny.
True. But we'll talk about this hate watching thing
we'll
on another episode.
We're supposed to get into some other personal shit this week, and we didn't. But we got a show coming out in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We'll be back. So last two things to talk about. Number one, we did our first Let's Play the other night.
Yeah, we
Was that-
did.
I think that was
check
last
that
night, in
out.
fact.
Yeah, we did that. Can you check that out?
Yeah, you can check that out. So you can check it out on my Twitch stream, which is Fiqmatic. I think. Pretty sure it's Fiqmatic. I don't know if Aaron posted it on the Black Astronauts page or anything, but he said he would. Because this is at the behest of Aaron. So, you know, because I'm
and I
old.
actually played. So if you want to fast forward to
play.
the point that I play, which I think is way more
Funnier.
exciting than anything you're going to see, do that.
If you're into Let's Plays, because I don't know, I've never watched more than 5 minutes of a Let's Play.
I love Let's Plays.
No, you don't.
I
you love the stuff surrounding them. You don't actually
okay,
love
so maybe
the Let's
that's
Plays.
true. That's true.
Aside from 5 Nights at Freddy, we've never watched the Let's Play.
I want to do this again.
Yeah, but we did enjoy ourselves. It was fun. We're playing Near Automata right now. But yeah, that's all we got. All right, so Shady Moment of the Year, and then we wrap it up. In accordance with the show, the Shady Award of the Year goes to Harvey Weinstein, Donald Trump, and all the other people that have, for the better of society, been exposed for being creeps. It was a weird and uncomfortable experience for some men, and rightfully so. It was a liberating and empowering experience for some women, and rightfully so. But it's a really fucked up situation that is probably more than anything changing the foundations of society and the way we interact with each other. I think this will definitely be something that goes in the history books as a touchstone moment in gender equality and feminist movements. But at the core of it is shade, because we got shady men. We got what I would say this shady young lady that accused Aziz, and we got shady conversations.
I don't think you should call her shady.
I think it's quite shady to say a person sexually assaulted
greatness
you
to
when they didn't.
What happened that we can discuss and hopefully learn from. But
that's pretty much it.
I don't think we need to say anything about that shady moment because we have discussed it.
Yeah, and we got a whole year's worth of shady moments in history to look forward to in 2018, y'all.
You guys know I'm dying.
So again, thank you for staying, listening to us tonight.
He can't.
This is the Black Astronauts Podcast Network. We are Married to Shade. Check us out, Married to Shade on Twitter. Even though neither one of us tweets,
we're gonna do that. That's part of that.
We're not. That is not even. That's not even on our vision board.
I've been talking about my brand, purpose, and whatever, and maybe I fulfill my purpose by being more vocal on Twitter.
Maybe. We'll see. You can find me at Fiq Blurman. You can find Black Astronauts Podcast at blackastronauts.podcast.com, Black Astronaut Podcast at gmail.com, the Black Astronauts Twitter. Check us out on Patreon. Please help us keep this movement going. Check out our Let's Play on Fiqmatic, Twitch, Let's Play stuff. I don't know how that works. And I think that's it. So with that said, baby, I love you.
Love you too. Bye, y'all.
Peace.